Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fit by 40. I'm Jason. I'm trying to get in the best shape of my life by the time I turn 40, which is on May 27th, 19. Why am I telling you the year? I was born on May 27th, 1986, if you want to do the math. So if you're interested in hearing my insights after 15 years of training off and on, last 2 years being more serious, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer on my next video, leave them in the comments below. And just thanks for being here, guys. So what I do is, today was an arm day. It was pretty simple. I did two heavy sets of cable curls, 2 heavy sets of dumbbell curls, and I did rope extensions and overhead extensions and 30 minutes of cardio. So I'm trying to stay heavy right now, making every set count, and it was a pretty solid workout. So what I do is I get on ChatGPT, I get it to ask me some questions and I answer it. What I'd really like to hear is be able to get 10 questions from you guys. So really, if you got any questions for somebody who's been working out for a while, whether you're a beginner or more advanced, feel free to ask and I would love to answer them. But let's jump into these questions while I drive irresponsibly. What does motivation really mean to you on your fitness journey? Motivation, what does it mean to me on my fitness journey? It means realizing the reasoning that I'm doing this, and a lot of things that do motivate me, which I don't really think that's what the question is asking, is man, I'm getting a little older, and I've been in really good shape before, but right now I'm trying to get in the best shape I've ever been by the time I turn 40, and that's a really motivating thing to me because I've always heard growing up that once you hit 40 years old, you know, that's just when your body starts to decline. It's nothing as easy as it's been. You'll gain weight, and I would just love to prove all of these people wrong. So that's a pretty cool thing that I know I'm going to be able to do because I've been doing this for a while. Question number 2, how do you push through the days when you don't feel like working out? That's a really good question. So there's going to be days that, you know, when you're trying to get in shape, that you're not going to feel like really showing up, right? You're going to be tired. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. You're kind of sore. But what's important is those days are even more important than the days you feel good, because when you commit to something and you say you're going to do it no matter what, and then you show up for yourself, I swear on those days that I felt bad before going into the gym, leaving the gym, I've felt better than I do on the days that I feel good about going. So, you know, just chalking up those small wins is going to give you so much momentum and getting to where you want to go. Do you rely more on discipline or motivation, and why? Well, motivation always fades. You know, these last couple questions have been more about motivation, but that motivation is going to fade. But when you become disciplined, so when you're motivated to do something, just go ahead and decide you're going to be disciplined, because on days like you don't feel like going or you don't feel like you're making progress, you have to remind yourself of why you started. And you just got to remember, this fitness journey or anything you're trying to do in life is going to take a whole lot longer than you think it's going to. It's never going to be as smooth as you think it's going to be. It's going to take a lot longer. You just got to remind yourself of why you're doing it. So having that why is really important to stay disciplined. You got to be able to go back there anytime, especially on those days that are a little rough. Let me turn in this parking lot and we'll go to the next question. Have to be aware and not run into anybody. That would be terrible. All right, so let's see. Question number 4. How has your why, reason for starting, helped you stay consistent? The why is a very powerful thing. If you don't have a clear why, it's gonna mess with you, like especially on those hard days you don't feel like going in. So you got to have that why for those hard days that it seems like it's impossible to get where you're going, or it's taking so long. And you just got to remind yourself that You know, you already know what it's like quitting. So you might as well find out what happens if you don't quit. Like, you quit all the time. When are you going to decide that you're not going to quit and see how far you can take this thing? I swear your body is capable of so much more than you give it credit for. And I think it's really worth getting into, right? So question number 5, what role does tracking progress, weight photos, performance play in keeping you motivated? I do record a lot of stuff, and I have a few times looked back when I was weighing like 210, 215 pounds, and just to see how far I've come. And then I also look back at when I was in extremely good shape in my late 20s, when I was pretty locked in, knowing that I can get back to that. So looking at those two things, I wouldn't be able to look at that if I didn't take pictures or videos and things of that nature. And I think that is really a really big part of it. And stepping on that scale, like, you don't want to get so locked into that number on the scale, but it is pretty motivating to see it going up and down at will. Question number 6, how do you handle setbacks or plateaus without losing momentum? Understand this is a long game, and you know, when you first start your fitness journey, you're going to get a lot of gains and everything pretty quick, but the longer you do it, the harder it is to really make progress. And to me, that's motivating, because I realize when people hit that a lot of people are going to quit or just relax and stay where they're at. Just knowing that gives me more energy to push through those hard times and really get after it. So I think it's more motivating to know that it slows down so much, because I know that's precisely when a lot of people quit, but I'm not those people, and you shouldn't be either. Question 7, what routines or habits help you build long-term consistency? So I'll touch on this as far as a diet goes. So when you're dieting down, I think the best habit I've developed is keeping it simple. So for example, finding highly nutritious foods that are easy to prepare really quick. So my diet right now that I'm finally got back on track, I was overcomplicating it, but it's pretty simple. I'll eat 4 eggs and some oatmeal in the morning, really quick. Takes me 10 minutes to make that. And then for lunch and dinner, I'm having some chicken and rice. Sometimes I'll put a veggie in there, but it's this microwavable rice that takes a minute and a half, this pre-cooked chicken that is as healthy as you can find with pre-cooked chicken. Like raw chicken, cooking it is a lot better, but I only had to microwave that for a minute, so there's no reason for me to not stick to my diet. Like, it's so easy. Let's see. Do you think motivation is something that comes from inside, or do you get it from external sources? I think initially you get it from external sources. I'm sure you've been scrolling through like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and you see somebody working out, but I'm just doing this in the fitness context. It could be used in anything. You see somebody working out, and it's got some kind of motivational music or some kind of background caption, and it just really gets you fired up. And that's the external, but when you feel it and you apply it, that's the internal. So I think that's important. So that's a good moment to decide you're going to do something, and then discipline yourself to do it no matter what, and remember that moment. So I think it's both external and internal. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's losing motivation right now? All right, this is to you. Let me zoom in so I can talk to you directly. So you've been doing this for a while, or you're just starting out and you're starting to think, man, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need to do something else. This is too hard. It's going to take too long. Remember that feeling you had when you decided you were going to start this thing. Go back to that person and in that moment, and remember that you decided that you want this. Just because it gets hard doesn't mean it's time to stop. You already know what it's like quitting. So why are you going to quit? Realign, remember why you started and push through this time. It's only temporary. The only thing you get out of quitting is not knowing how far you can go. And if you don't quit and you keep pushing yourself, you're going to find out exactly how far you go. And you're going to find out some stuff about yourself you would never find out if you didn't put yourself through the hard times. So stay in it and keep going. I'm trying to zoom it out for dramatic effect, but I think I messed that up. All right. So next question. How has your definition of motivation changed since you started training? My definition of motivation initially was I just want to get ripped. I think the definition of motivation for me has changed, and I don't know if I'm answering this question right, but basically that I have to do this for myself and my wife and my kids. I have to show up as the best person I can possible for them and myself. And, you know, as you get older, you start to realize that, you know, life is going to pass you by in the blink of an eye. And in order to stay motivated, you have to think about that and really reflect. I don't think it's a midlife crisis, but you just have to keep going. Like, why wouldn't you keep going? Just stay in it. Just keep grinding. And motivation is important, but what's more important than motivation is always going to be discipline. So that's the 10 questions for today. Like I said earlier, guys, if this is something you're interested in, hearing from somebody else, their experience of working out for 15 years, hit that subscribe button. I really encourage you to ask some questions that I can answer. And if I don't get 10 questions, even if I get one, I'll put it in the beginning of my video and answer that question first, and then go through the other kind of automated questions I got going on here. But I always appreciate you guys joining and listening to me rant away. And as always, don't let that dreamer die. Keep the grind alive. Never give up on yourself. And most importantly, don't let those hard days win. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.